The first flame is dying out. The dark soul has been shattered, spread out all across the land. And no chosen undead will be able to reclaim it and rekindle the bonfire so he can do it all over again with a different weapon set this time. It's the beginning of the end. It isn't gonna work. It's all falling apart. The cracks are starting to show. People are beginning to see how FromSlop, the most overhyped developer of the 2010s, is going to meet its demise. Like so many other companies before it, it is going to be stomped under the gigantic heel of Sony Incorporated. They are going to get bought out and they're going to be made their bitch. Everything is going to be PlayStation exclusive. Everything's going to be censored. PlayStation is going to make them casualize everything. Game journals are going to get their game journal mode that plays itself. Like the lore is going to like be sold in like these accessory, through DLC, right? Everything's going to fall apart. Miyazaki's going to leave the company, and the games are going to get worse. They're going to get terrible. You have no idea what Sony's going to do to make these games sell more and more and more. And this is like the reality of the situation, okay? This is what's going to happen every time you prop up any major third-party company, whether it's like FromSlop or CD Projekt Red or like BioWare or like whoever else, right? No matter who it is, no matter who you try to set up as like the savior of gaming, whoever you try and worship to try and like destroy Nintendo, no matter what you do or like who you give money to, it's always going to result in the same thing. It's gonna result in someone like Sony getting involved and just shitting all over everything, right? It's gonna result in bankruptcies. It's gonna result in layoffs. It's gonna result in the games getting worse until they are finally unceremoniously canceled and the company dismantled, right? Like again, it wasn't that long ago that Sony purchased Bungie, and what exactly did you get out of that? You haven't gotten a single new release out of Bungie, right? They can't produce new expansions for Destiny 2, right? They are a shell of their former selves that completely wasted everyone's time by leaving Microsoft, going independent, partnering with Activision, trying to run their business, and then crawling back to Sony because like they are and always have been completely irrelevant. If Bungie, one of the most worshipped developers of the 2000s, couldn't make it, how exactly is FromSlop any different? Right? Like, how exactly is FromSlop going to survive this acquisition? How exactly are they going to handle Sony controlling them? And the answer is that it's not. Like, the grim reality, something that is straight out of Dark Souls lore is that Sony destroys every video game company it touches. Sony is the reason why gaming is so terrible today, why third parties have degraded, why they all pursue graphics over fun gameplay, how they all abandon like unique creative ideas and have started like chasing the almighty dollar, how they don't understand their audience and don't want to understand their audience, how they disrespect them and make stuff up and like pander to homosexuals and like everything else they've done. It's all Sony doing it, right? Sony's behind everything wrong in video games in some way, shape, or form. So the idea that FromSlop, like the industry darling right now, is the idea that they're going to get acquired by the most evil, toxic console manufacturer in gaming. That's an amusing idea to me. After giving an ill-gotten Game of the Year award to Elden Ring, and after bending the rules so the DLC could get nominated another year, like FromSlop meets its end by being acquired by Sony. And it says a lot about Sony's reputation in this day and age where everybody's coping and seething about this. Everyone's trying to make excuses, saying that like it's not going to happen or that the Japanese government are going to block it or that nothing's going to change. The games will still be multiply. It isn't gonna matter. Okay. Like FromSlop is going downhill no matter what happens. And like Sony is going to be there every step of the way. Sony's going to be heavily involved in overseeing the decline of this company and its brand. Like they are going to be actively involved in FromSlop's operations, right? They are going to ruin the game, the genre, so thoroughly that FromSlop will never again be able to put out anything similar to Elden Ring. They will not be able to do the one thing that their fanboys desperately want to do. Like I just want to raise a shield and strafe around enemies while rolling sometimes. Like but they won't let me do that. Like they're gonna give you more iframes. They're gonna give you better armor. They're gonna like enemies like less aggressive. They're gonna be casualized, right? It's gonna be like you're playing like some point and click adventure game where you just like hit a button and your character just automatically just wins, right? Like all those like you're gonna like be walking down hallways, listening to your companion just exposit about the state of the world, right? Your waifu like that's been tagging along with you the entire game, like she's gonna reveal that she was a lesbian the entire time, right? And that all of this is just some quest to reunite her with her lover, and so you end up getting cut. Like this is what PlayStation is gonna do. You think I'm joking, but we've seen this happen with The Last of Us Part 2. We've seen this happen with Ghost of Tsushima. Like it isn't outside of the realm of possibility. We are gonna see increasingly more degenerate, depraved, insane nonsense in FromStop games. And Shadow of the Erdtree is just the start of that nonsense, right? Just look at how many people refuse to admit that Michaela and Radon were in a homosexual, incestuous relationship, right? That Michaela was getting his boy pussy just pounded by this grown man. Like, how can FromSlop fans be so blind to the reality that FromSlop is an incredibly woke company that is going to get even more woke under PlayStation. This is going to end the company. There will be no recovery from this. There will be no salvation. No one's going to swoop in to save them. Like FromSlop is completely and utterly finished.